Airline associations are calling on government to provide specific financial relief to the aviation sector impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. They estimate more than 50% revenue loss, putting more than 200,000 jobs at risk. I'm joined now via Skype by Lyndon Burns, the MD of Plain Talking, for more. Lyndon, if for a second I can ask you just to put a little different hat on for me. I've just had a conversation with the GM of the OR Tambo International Airport, OR Tambo being one of the airports getting its wheels turning today. I was told that it's been a very slow start, and it sounds like that's really going to be the order of the day for the airlines and airports that will start getting back into motion over the next few weeks in this phased-in approach announced by the Transport Minister on Saturday. It's not going to be an easy road back, is it?
Hi, not at all. It's welcome news, obviously, that airlines can start flying again from today, although very short notice, and I don't think anybody really have bookings for flights today, or very few. And also there was a lot of concern about whether hotels or other hospitality venues would be open, because you don't want to confine people who are having to travel for business to day trips, especially if you're having to travel beyond Johannesburg or Cape Town or Durban on your trip. And obviously, I think people want to see that the system is up and running. They want to know that the screening and that all the personal protection equipment and everything is in place before they start the journey and head off to the airport. And I think equally the airlines want to see that the systems are working as well, because the safety and the well-being of passengers as well as crew are absolutely crucial here. And we certainly don't want to see aviation becoming a vector for further transmission of the infection. And I know, with IATA, we've been working closely with Professor Karim and the Ministerial Advisory Committee on Health, providing them with information on what we can do as airlines and about the health and safety of the aircraft. It's up to the airport and the infrastructure service providers to obviously make sure that the airport processes are handled properly and that they can ensure all the right risk mitigation measures for the airports.
Let's talk a little bit broadly now about the industry. The International Air Transport Association says that revenues generated by airlines in the South African market will fall by a whopping 55 billion rand in 2020. That's a 56% drop from 2019 levels. That's not an impact that can just be wiped out overnight. What are they calling for from government at the moment?
You're absolutely right. And, just to put it into context, this is an industry that, contrary to what some politicians say, is not the purview of the rich and the well-heeled, and it's not just about leisure. This is an industry that connects people, connects markets, it facilitates trade and investment, and it drives the tourism industry, and it's a very important contributor to our GDP. We're talking about potentially a loss here of close to 100 billion rand in GDP contribution this year, just from aviation and aviation-dependent tourism. So what we're looking for is a combination of three things: direct aid, financial support directly to airlines, financial relief through the waiver of airports and air navigation and weather service charges and taxes, as well as deferrals, reductions and waivers in other statutory charges like payroll and income tax, things like that, company tax, the carbon tax as well. Government have come to the party on a couple of things. They've suspended the slot use rules for the next few months, and they've also extended the validity of licenses and certification of aircraft and crew until the 26th of this month. But there is then going to be a surge of aircraft and people who need to get their licenses renewed. And there's going to be quite a rush, I think, on things like that and on the Civil Aviation Authority. The problem we have, of course, is that the airports company and the Civil Aviation Authority themselves depend largely on air traffic and on passenger movements for their own revenue, because they're all based on user charges. So we really do need that direct aid, and we've got pledges now from the Africa Development Bank, as well as the African Union. Together, they've come up with a pledge of just over 10 billion rand, or $10 billion, apologies, which would go towards aviation and tourism across Africa. But it's not going to be enough. I mean, just restarting, it's going to be a very expensive exercise. And restarting in a market where we don't know what the level of demand is going to be, and while we need to rebuild confidence in air travel, in an economy that's already battered, that's going to require some deep pockets and a fair amount of cash.
Indeed. That is Lyndon Burns. He is the MD of Plain Talking and also a communications advisor to the International Airport Transport Association. A long road ahead for that industry indeed.